All right, what's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, share the video. Chris Eubank Jr. wins against Liam Williams. All right, wins a decision against Williams, and a pretty dominant performance. It was dominant. I know Liam Williams had a good 4 or 5 round run in the middle of the fight, leading to towards the end, or leading towards the championship rounds. All right, but overall, Chris dropped him 4 times. I mean, he clearly won the fight. Okay, and I was fine with the decision. This is the thing. Chris Eubank is getting trained by Roy Jones Jr. And a lot of this I said during the live commentary I did the other day. Chris Eubank does certain things well. I like the way he was able to use his jab and time Liam Williams as he stepped in. All right, dropped him a couple of times with jabs. He caught him with an overhand right. The punches, the angles, the way that they come, it's hard to really detect them. All right, so he was doing some of the things that Roy was able to do well back then. He is a very athletic fighter. He does have pretty decent reflexes, so he's capable of doing that. The problem I have with Chris Eubank is that when Liam started to, he started to really get into the fight, and I think things started to become predictable for him. The fight changed, and Chris started throwing some really wild punches and was missing almost everything, and those rounds started going to Liam. And I think the one thing that I would say for Chris to do is there's a point where you have to go back a little bit into your fundamentals. If he could find a way to fight the way he's fighting, similar to how Roy fought, but can tune back into his fundamentals when he needs to, I think he would be a much better fighter. I think fighting that way completely for a whole 12 rounds is not good. So there's a point where he's going to have to get back into making setups, proper setups. Just fighting that way for 12 rounds or 10 rounds or whatever amount of rounds it was, it's not going to be pretty. Because at some point, Liam started to change. He made the adjustments not to just walk into those jabs. You know what I'm saying? He was keeping the pressure up, but on top of, not that I'm giving Liam credit, because I do think he's a very dirty fighter. Don't like him as a fighter. Don't like his technique. Don't like his dirty tactics. I don't even like what he says. I don't know how people can cheer for that guy. He's a dirty, dirty fighter. He's a very dirty fighter, and he's blatantly dirty. But with all that being said, Liam did adjust, and he's starting to smarten up, just similar to how he dealt with Andre. Andre was able to rock him a couple times early, but there was adjustments made, And I think once Liam started to make it more of a street fight, where he started tying up a lot, all right, hitting them with those loose hands and making it a rough, rugged fight, excuse me, that's when he started to have more success. Plus, his defense stepped up dramatically. All right, he wasn't just coming straight in. Started moving his upper body. Started change. What I was impressed with is that he was changing levels a lot, and I think that was thrown off Chris. And Chris kept swinging, and Liam would duck in underneath a lot of those shots. All right. But overall, I think Chris is good. I would love to see him fight the other top middleweights. I know he says he wants that. I know people are talking about Conor Ben fight. I don't believe that fight will really happen. And it would be a cool thing because you got the fathers, the two legendary pops. They would love to put that fight together because it would be a good fight. But at the same time, I don't think that's a real thing right now. Conor Ben is at 147, and he's not a big welterweight. On top of that, Chris Eubank he's been fighting at middleweight. He even went up to super middleweight. All right, fought in the tournament, had good fights up there. Came back down to middleweight. I just don't see it being a real thing right now. I think if that's like an exhibition or something down the line, I don't see it happening until like Eubank is way past it. You know, I can't see that fight happening. Like the Amir Khan Kell Brook situation, like I knew that fight wasn't gonna happen until they both were way past it. And they had no other choice but to fight each other to get a huge bag. You know, so I think that that fight will be on the table once Chris, you know, or Connor is a little later because he's younger. So when he's a little further in his career and Chris is kind of past it, I can see it possibly happening then. But outside of that, I'm not really entertaining that fight for right now. But again, going back to Chris Eubank Jr., I don't know if that style works for everybody. You know, we know Andre is moving up, but the fight is still possible. You never know. We know Jamal may possibly be fighting Canelo, but if not, I would love to see him fight Eubank. I would love to see Jaime Munguia getting there with someone that is actively really, really good. You know, I think he's protected. But I would love that Jaime Munguia fight. I would love a Triple G fight or a Murata fight, you know, because they haven't technically announced that fight. So all those fights are good. It's just that depending on who he's facing, I think Liam Williams is a step below all of those guys I just named. All right, he's not bad, but he's a step below them. Losing to Liam Smith, losing to Andre, he's gonna lose. Alantez Fox win is just, it's just a solid win. You know, I really don't like that guy, but it is what it is. All right, so yeah, good fight. But would like him to bounce back and forth with some of the things that, you know, the proper fundamentals of boxing when he has to, and make those adjustments. Don't just try to fight while throwing these wild punches all fight, because even that becomes predictable. You know, and when you miss, it looks pretty sloppy. It looks bad. But he did get 4 knockdowns in that fight. One of them was, the last one was a little questionable. But I know the first 3 were clean for sure. And he was able to hurt Liam a few times, even outside of the knockdowns. All right. Good win, though. Good win. All right. So anyway, that's that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.